Spider-Man: Homecoming. I like this film a lot. This film was pretty good. This film was a reboot of the Amazing Spider-Man series. When they first announced it that Spider-Man's getting rebooted again, I wasn't really for the decision because I was really enjoying the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I love the first one. I like the second one. Some issues with it. I was very excited to see where they were going with it. I wish they continued their series and then bring Spider-Man into the MCU. I feel like that they rushed him into the MCU a little bit too quickly, but yeah. But after watching this movie, it kind of erased the concerns that I had. Far From Homecoming takes place after the events of Captain America Civil War. And we open up with the aftermath of the Avengers. We have Michael Keaton. He plays Adrian Toomes, the Vulture. He's at a construction site cleaning up the artifacts. Yeah, damage control coming in. They pretty much fire his crew. Damage control is ran by Tony Stark. So after he gets fired, he has vengeance on Tony Stark, and he becomes the Vulture. So then we jump up to 4 years after that. We get Tom Holland, who plays the Spider-Man. Him and his friend Ned are going to a party. Ned figures out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and he's like telling Peter Parker that, hey, I know you have a crush on this girl here. Why not impress her by bringing Spider-Man to the party? So Peter's kind of reluctant to doing it, but he kind of goes with it. So he goes to a party. He's gonna bring Spider-Man into the party until he sees an explosion, and it's a bunch of thugs. They have a bunch of high-powered weaponry. So Spider-Man knows that he can't let those guys get away, so he goes after them. This leads to the Vulture getting into things, and he's a nice little challenge for Spider-Man. There's some pretty cool special effects with a boat scene, where a boat like splits in half, and kind of make the Spider-Man 2 train scene. Also, there's a scene at the Washington Monument where Ned has a explosive in his backpack. It apparently gets through TSA and it causes a minor collapse at the Washington Monument. Spider-Man has to go in there and save them. I really like Michael Keaton's role in this film. It's the scene where Peter Parker, he's going to go take Liz, the love interest in this film, to the homecoming party. So he knocks on a door and opens up. Her father, Adrian Toomes, Michael Keaton, and I was like shocked in the theater. I did not expect that. But I knew that Vulture either had to kidnap Liz, just like the Green Goblin kidnapped Mary Jane in the first Spider-Man film, but I did not expect him to be Liz's father. So that was pretty cool. So this leads to a final showdown between Spider-Man and the Vulture, which Spider-Man defeats the Vulture. Vulture goes to jail. They have some post-credit scene after that. The MVP of this film is Tom Holland. You can tell that he really likes the role of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. What he nailed down was Peter Parker. You know, Tobey Maguire, Garfield, they play great Spider-Mans, but their Peter Parkers weren't really that anything. Garfield never really had that emotional side to him. Maguire thought he was too emotional at some times. The third one really showed his emotional side. The first two films, not much. But I do like Tom Holland. He's the right age. He looks like a high school student. The others were portraying their final years of high school. This guy's young. He's charismatic. Has personality. He's outgoing. I like it. Also, I really got to give Michael Keaton an MVP. I like what he did. You know, plays the Vulture. I always want to see the Vulture in a Spider-Man film. They did. I like the Spider-Man suit. It looks pretty cool. I still like Sam Raimi's overall because it's classic. But I like all three Spider-Man suits from Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and Homecoming. I like Flash Thompson in this movie. He's not really a bully like he was in the other ones. He's just a prick. That's what he is. like Spider-Man's interactions with Captain America, who made a cameo in this movie, and Iron Man. That's what's been missing from these later films, is that Spider-Man works great when he's interacting with bigger established stars. In the Tobey Maguire films and Andrew Garfield films, he didn't really have a lot of people to work with. It's mostly on his own. And he needs people like Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, Fantastic Four, and X-Men to help him along. Because he's just a kid. And once he gets older, maybe he'll be on his own. I don't know. But I do like seeing Captain America and Iron Man in this film. That was kind of what was missing about the others. I also want to praise the film for its adventurous tone. This film does take you on an adventure. Kind of unlike the other ones. Sam Raimi's films were portrayed as a superhero romantic drama. The Amazing Spider-Man film was kind of like between mystery, superhero, and romance. This one had the adventurous tone to it. And Spider-Man is adventurous. So the only issues that I have with this film is that Spider-Man reveals his identity. Twice. One to his friend Ned accidentally. And Aunt May, who finds out that he is Spider-Man. Don't really like that because it diminishes the value of the superhero. Not supposed to know who the superhero is. Only once in a while should you reveal our identity. And I like when they do it. Like Iron Man announces Name to the World in 2008. Also Ned. I didn't really like Ned. He was kind of annoying. And after he found out Peter Parker's identity, he just bombarded him with questions about, hey, does Spider-Man lay eggs? Do you climb up walls? But what canceled out this issue is Peter Parker kind of telling his best friend to shut up. You're telling your best friend to be quiet. It's not something that you do, but Peter didn't like that either. And also Aunt May. She isn't really an issue here, but she doesn't really look like an Aunt May. She looks like Peter Parker's older sister. She's attractive, but an Aunt May, I don't really know. Rosemary Harris is the perfect Aunt May. She is. Sally Field, alright, but I'll go for Rosemary Harris. Now, what some people are kind of criticizing about this movie is Spider-Man's lack of motivation because of Uncle Ben. I don't know a lot about this Spider-Man. How was he bit by the spider? Is there an Uncle Ben? We all know he got bit by a spider. As far as Uncle Ben goes, she might just be a single aunt. That happens. Maybe her brother or her sister, got married, they had kids, and and then there came Spider-Man. I don't know. I just kind of wish they made Spider-Man really focused. I wish they let the Amazing Spider-Man movies kind of explored on what happened to his parents, so you can know what happened to him. But whatever. Yeah. There's no Uncle Ben. There's no Uncle Ben here to tell him with great power comes great responsibility. And you can see that in these movies. His lack of motivation. He makes mistakes in these films. And when he makes mistakes, they're great mistakes. He has to learn from them. So my thoughts on Aunt May. She doesn't really look like an Aunt May, but she's okay. Just whatever. So Homecoming, 10 out of 10. I love it. It kind of erased the concerns that I had. Where's it go on my list? I'm still going to say Amazing Spider-Man's number 1. I saw it in theaters. That was my first Spider-Man movie I saw in theaters. I was hyped going into the film. I'll put Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 1. Both had better villains than Amazing Spider-Man. But that's where it goes. And then in 4th place, I'll put Homecoming. In 5th place, Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then in distant last place, Spider-Man 3. My God, I hate that movie. Spider-Man 3 made $890 million at the box office. It made more money than this one. And the lineup movie made much money. Probably because of the hype it had after Spider-Man 1 and 2. But those are my thoughts on Homecoming.